Hey guys, so it's like super dark because I was gonna do a video earlier and then I couldn't think of anything. Whew. So now it's like totally dark outside and my only light comes from the lamp ceiling light. So like it'll get bright that way, but I don't really want to hold my camera like this and just be awkward. So, I've been kind of like binge watching videos from like famous vloggers, I guess you can call them, on like crazy roommates and stalkers and stuff. I just spent like 15 minutes watching the Gabby show, and I watched the one from Jenna Marbles like forever ago, and I am, if you know me you probably know this because I'm really like chill about it, but if not, I am 16, you know, I live with my parents, obviously, I'm American, we're not independent, so I've never had a roommate, and up until like 3 years ago, I've been an only child. I have a half stepbrother. It's a really weird story, and I'll get into that at another time. But I did have this friend, who I will talk about, and I will not name any names. I'm gonna call them, let's call them Sarah. I'll go with Sarah. Sarah works just fine. So this Sarah, okay, well, first of all, let's start off with how we met. I'm a cosplayer, and I go to this convention here in Seattle, not here in Seattle, I don't live in Seattle, about 2 hours away in Seattle, called Stalker. And most of my cosplays are from this band called Steam Powered Giraffe, and I cosplay this robot, her name is Rabbit, she's freaking cute. And I was doing this like rave rendition of this robot for this con like almost 3 years ago. Okay, so I'm walking around, I'm hanging out, there's some other guy dressed up like a robot with the face paint and stuff, so we make friends and we're hanging out and going around, and I saw her and she had like talked to this guy before and like made friends with him already, and so we're all just hanging out and like dicking around, making it in robot jokes, and we're having a great time. And so after this con, you know, like we went to the rave and everything too. Mind you, this girl, let me just tell you this right now, this girl is, I think, like 4 years, probably almost 5 years older than me. Okay, so there's that. So we made friends, and like we text all the time and talk about robots and stuff because she didn't live too terribly far from me. I really didn't see her much, but we would always text and stuff and have a great time. When was the next time I saw her? I think the next time I saw her in person was actually at Steamposium, which was a steampunk convention that was also in Seattle that came through, and it was the one time that this band came to this con. And this con, I don't want to like slander them publicly, but I'm going to. This con was so badly run. I mean, it was a nice con. They had panels and stuff, and it was organized and whatnot, and like their dealer's hall was really cool. It was expensive because it's a dealer's hall and also steampunk, but it was cool. They had cool stuff. But our band that we love, they brought them in like the day before their show, so they didn't have any time to get over their like jet lag and stuff, if I remember right. And then they had to set up everything, do all the rehearsal stuff, and there was supposed to be a VIP package where people can sit in on rehearsals, and then staff kicked them out when they were in there and said, never mind, no one can be in here, which is really dumb. We did get to hang out for a little while, like right when they started, and there was a bunch of rolly chairs, so we're all like pushing each other around and running around with them. And this girl's sitting here and constantly complaining that we're being loud and distracting them, but they weren't, like they were tuning guitars like in the back, and there's, you know, they are, but like their sound engineer especially, they're pretty straightforward, you know, if you have an issue it's like really, really obvious if you're upsetting them. And they also have like their merchandise sellers like the Walter Girls and the photographers who are no longer with them, and it kills me because I love them, that were like setting up and stuff like in the main part where we were, not behind the curtain. that could have easily told us if we were making a mess or distracting them, and the fact that the Walter girls and the photographers were also running around in rolly chairs probably gave us a hint that we were okay. So we're just kind of ignoring her and doing our own thing, and then they kick us out, so we leave, and we're being respectful and everything. That was really like the last, like the second time I think that I saw her in person. But we'd been, you know, texting and calling each other. We'd talk on the phone all the time. And at this point, we were kind of like, no, we weren't. Never mind. We were friends. So we go through, and she stayed with us for a little while. Not live with us. She was coming back and forth, because we drove back and forth from Shelton to Seattle. So she just came and stayed at our house, and she'd come with us. Well, this is the first time she'd been in our house, and my mom is very, very religious, and she's also very sensitive to smells. My mom is Christian. This girl was like pagan, I think, and we had a conversation because we're pretty sure my house is haunted, and it freaks me out, or it did. It doesn't really freak me out anymore. It used to freak me out really bad, and we talked about like saging the house, which like my stepmom does over at my dad's, and I don't know if there's a correlation, but I'm Native, and so that's like a thing with culture and stuff too, and so we've been talking about it, and I was like, I don't know if it would help, but maybe. So she comes over and says, oh, I brought sage, I can sage your house, and my mom is just politely like, no, you know, I don't believe in that kind of thing, but thank you for your sentiment, and she starts going on a rant about how like, oh, well, it would make your daughter feel safer. And at this point, my mom's like, okay, but that's not how we do things in our house, and I can't handle the smell of it. It will give me a raging headache. I can't do it. And she keeps arguing. Instead of just accepting me like, okay, I understand, I respect you, etc., she keeps arguing. And I'm telling my mom that like, oh, we'd had a conversation. This isn't just her being completely rude. But then I'm telling her like, I forgot she can't handle the smell. Like, we can't do it. And she's still trying to argue it. And I'm like, okay, dude. We can't do it. Like, just stop. It's fine. I've lived here for like 7 years. We're gonna be okay. And so she finally dropped it, and just the whole weekend really was just a lot of complaining, because there was also another friend of ours that we were meeting up with and hanging out with and stuff. This girl really liked, and it was just this huge mess, because they were supposed to kind of like do this date type thing at the dance at this con, but then one of the people in the band, like not one of the robots, but one of the people in the band ended up asking this other person to go with him. And mind you, the entire time that we had all been together, what was the name? Sarah, all of her attention was basically like on me or the photographers who we hung out with for like 2 hours. So she's pretty much been almost ignoring my other friend for like this entire time, other than to just be in a conversation together. There was no kind of extra attention. It almost seemed like there was no kind of like attraction at all. But then as soon as the whole thing with this guy happened, the entire rest of the weekend was just complaining and complaining and complaining and complaining and saying that, you know, they're making a stupid decision, and he's done this, he's done that, he's disrespectful for this reason, he's just a cheater, he's a player, etc., 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 etc. Be those true or not, you know, we understood that there was an issue and there was like a concern in some ways, and there was that feeling of being played, but after a whole weekend of it, we're kind of like, we get it. Like, okay, we understand. Would not stop. And then every time we would be texting or on the phone or whatever from that for like months. Still, that was all that would come up. Okay, this is like ridiculous. And it's just horrible and obnoxious to the point where I would kind of like start slowing down our conversations, because that is too much. So eventually she calms down and chills out and like drops it, and I am just so ridiculously thankful. And we had kind of developed a weird sort of friendship thing, and it was like, I don't even know, probably like illegal-ish. It's just, I don't know. We acted like we were in a relationship, and I was just it was stupid of me, and I like regret a lot of it. And it was just really weird. But like looking back on it now, it was super creepy because she's like, I think when I met her she was either 19 or she was 19. And this continued on to like when she was 20, and it was just super awkward, and I was only like 15 and then 16 at this point. Very, very weird and just not okay in retrospect. But I am, you know, I'm just as much at fault for that. But she was also like a long distance thing. This wasn't a thing of like anything happened. So fast forward, and I go to like this fan meetup get together thing with all of these other fans of this band and hang out for Halloween. And then I'm supposed to be staying with her afterwards, which was like basically fine. And like, I don't really know, it was just really weird. And she was like, she basically acted for the most part like we were just like a regular relationship. And at the time I was totally fine with it, but like looking back on it now, it's just super creepy. And she would go back and forth between saying like, you know, I'm not gonna do this thing, I'm not gonna do that thing, I'm not gonna, etc., because you're a minor and that's not legal. But then she acted like she was like going through all these like loopholes and stuff to do like as much as she could. And it was weird. So as time goes on, you know, she continues doing all this stuff about like with our friend, and I'm starting to get tired of it, so I'll just pull myself out of the conversation as fast as possible because she's just getting obsessive and needs to stop. And eventually I start getting after her and be like, dude, you need to chill, like, you guys are adults, this is not even a thing anymore, you know, you guys don't even really talk anymore, like, just stop. We didn't talk for a really long time, and she kept messaging me and saying, like, you know, for a while, she would literally just message me, like, constantly with just, like, stickers or just totally random things that didn't make any sense at all. And so I just didn't really talk to her. And then we kind of just stopped talking for a while. Come next February, that was this year. So this February, we're at the Everett concert for Steam Power Giraffe when they come through Washington again, which is their usual concert, because they won't come back to Steamposium after, like after their concert. They had tried to go and find someone to get paid, and all of the staff was drunk. All of them. And they were just so upset. Like, one of them was downstairs cussing it, like, you know, cussing people out, or not cussing people out, but just like cussing at the situation, yelling, really, really just not happy with the situation for very good reason. And so anyway, we're at Everett, and I haven't spoken to this girl in like a couple of months, and I came to stay with our other friend and a couple other people and my mom. And I come up and I'm like tired, I'm in a corset, I'm not really comfortable, so I'm laying down on the couch in the lobby of this hotel waiting for like our room to be ready so we can go and put stuff away and like relax. And she comes up and like literally lays on me, like she is just so, I don't know, like so touchy, so just up in my space all the time. And it was just kind of weird and uncomfortable. And then she came into our room and was just hanging around us for like the entire weekend. And it was just super weird, and she just continued to be like really stalkerish and stuff. And then afterwards she just like was constantly talking, you know, trying to get me to talk to her and things. She got super pissed about the whole thing with our other friend because like at one point I guess she kissed the guy I guess they kissed the guy at the concert, and she just went off the handle. Like apparently my other adult friends aren't allowed to have relationships if they're liked by this girl. So it's just this huge mess of all of this drama and junk, and then she tries talking to me and complaining again, like bringing this up again and continuing to complain about it. And I straight up tell her, I'm like, this is why we stopped talking. Like, I had actually gone through, no, I went through after Everett. After a while, I told her, I'm like, I'm not gonna play this anymore. You know, I haven't talked to you in a while for a reason. You've literally been obsessing over my friend and then over me, and it's weird, and you're an adult and you're being so immature and acting like the world needs to cater to you. I am done. I'm not gonna pick sides. I'm not gonna try and, you know, get between this. You're the only one inciting drama. There's nothing going on the other side, so I'm just gonna drop out of this. And then there was the whole spiel that I got from that, like, you're just a kid, I couldn't expect you to understand what it feels like, blah, 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 and it was just really stupid, and it's like, I might be a kid, but I'm being a lot more mature and actually understanding the situation, whereas you are just going off the handle trying to fill in your own agenda, and it's stupid. So I'm like, fine. I go through and I block them on, like, everything, or unfollow them on, like, everything, and just stopped, and I get like a message on Facebook later, and it's just like, wow, okay, like super upset and haughty, and I don't even reply. A little while later, I get another message on Tumblr, like a couple months later. I'm trying to find the best way to get lighting. There it is. I get a message in my inbox on Tumblr, and it's just like, hey, you know, I'm really sorry, I changed my ways, I've done this and that, I've started, like, Buddhism, I think, and, you know, I'm fixing what I'm doing, I'm gonna be a better person, it was really guilt trippy, too, in the way that it was written. It's just sitting there, like, saying that, like, oh, I messed up, I made this huge mistake, I feel horrible, I feel like shit, you know, I ruined this friendship because I was stupid, like, trying to make me feel upset and feel like, you know, they just, like, hated themselves. And it was just, like, but I'm really, really nice, and I feel really bad if I ever, like, upset people, or if they're upset because of a situation that I'm a part of. So they're just like, you know, can we talk again? So I talked a little bit, and I was just like, you know, I didn't want to be a part of that. There was constant drama, and they're like, okay, I'm not gonna, you know, I'm done, I've cut them out, whatever, I've done this and that, etc. So I'm like, fine. And I kind of talked to them more on Tumblr, and then after like a few messages, she's just like, can we talk on Facebook? And like, I don't want to deal with the backlash of just saying like, no. So I'm like, okay. And then from there, she asked for my number again, and then would just text me and send me just random things. Like, there were a few times where I was like busy or just didn't feel like talking, and I'd get like a hello, like a hi, or just like a sticker or something, and I'm like, no, like, if you just want to have idle chit chat, I'm not in the mood. And it would just keep coming and keep coming and keep coming, and after like 4 or 5 times of no response to a hello, instead of just accepting like, oh, I guess she just isn't really interested in talking, I got like angry messages like, why aren't you responding to me? You know, I told you we don't have a problem anymore. As if, you know, it couldn't just be a thing of like, I don't like your personality, because they're really overbearing and very strong personality, and I don't really like that. And so I just kind of ignored that, and then I found out that this girl and my other friend were now friends again, and were doing stuff, and at this point in time, this other friend is like hardly talking to me, hardly replying to me, and they've since fallen out of like Steam Power Giraffe and stuff for the most part. Like, there was still a little bit, and they've gotten into like the whole, like a lot of like the furry stuff, which I was also into, and I was actually the reason they got back into it. So all of a sudden, to see all of their furry stuff going to this girl, I was kind of upset. So I was just like, whatever, you know, it's not my life, I have no place to basically pull the same thing that this girl had done before. So I let it go. And then come to find out that when my friend had gotten with this one guy, she'd been all for it, but this guy was not really, you know, my friend had a crush on another guy in the community that I think they are currently dating, actually, and they're freaking cute. Yeah, they are. They're freaking cute. And so after a little while, they broke up with the other guy, got with this one, and this girl starts going up, and I don't remember what exactly like the story was. It was something like, was telling all of this crap to, I think, the ex-boyfriend about my friend and this new guy, I believe. It was something like that, just telling a bunch of people a bunch of crap, and was just being really toxic and really gross. And apparently it wasn't the first time that she had done this once she'd gotten into the furry community and whatever. And it was just like, I'm not surprised, but that is so gross. Like, what are you even trying to accomplish? And so she got like totally cut out, totally booted out, everything. And she still messaged me a little bit later, like, can we talk? And to this day, like, that was months ago, to this day I've completely ignored her. And it's just like, she was so ridiculously creepy and stalkerish, and for a while, like, yeah, I was part of that. And then I kind of like realized and took a step back, and I took the initiative to break that off because it was not, you know, healthy for me, not good for me, and it wasn't right. And she literally said in that long ass message, like, I know that I'm 20 and you're 16, but I still want to be friends with you. Like, that, my best friend on this planet, on the face of this earth, is 20. And I love them with all of my heart, and we are pretty much like the same person. We call each other soulmates, but there's not any kind of like relationship connotation. Like, the fact that I've asked them to marry me is like irrelevant because it's friend marriage, because tax benefits are nice. But there was no actual like romantic connotation. There is nothing in there about any kind of like relationship thing. It's not any kind of like anything like that. We're friends. We're really, really awesome friends, and I like love having them in my life, and they're really cool. But this was like different. This was creepy. This was to the point, and when I tried to step back and say like, no, okay, I'm gonna just stop it right here because this is not a healthy friendship for me, it was just this whole thing where it seemed like they were like obsessing over me and like needed me, whatever, in her life. And it was, oh my god, like, it was just really, really creepy. She was basically a stalker. Now she's unfollowed me on stuff and dropped it because she's really petty, and I'm pretty sure the people she hangs out with now, I've heard plenty about how me and my friend were just like these horrible people who wouldn't give people second chances and wouldn't like see reason or whatever, and we're just kids that couldn't, you know, couldn't be expected to understand. But it was just this crazy like roller coaster of feelings and BS and just really shitty things. So that was fun, and that's basically my story of like my awkward stalker chick lady whatever that I don't talk to anymore. So yeah, and if you want to like message me and say like, oh, who is it? Like, I want to know who it is. You know, I'm not giving out names. I'm not going to give out personal information, like accounts, anything like that, because I am not going to allow any kind of like gross comments, because that ain't how I roll. If you know the story, like if you're someone who was on the inside at any given point in time and you know who this is, please don't post anything saying who it is. Don't do any of that, because for one, regardless, I still don't want this getting back to them and upsetting them. I honestly don't know what pronouns they go by anymore, to be completely honest. I just thought about that, which is why I've been switching them so much, like subconsciously. I don't want this getting back to them and, you know, bringing up a whole new thing for them. I just wanted to vent about it, and the internet seems to like crazy stories about crazy people, so there you go. You're welcome. And don't name drop so that people can find them and like harass them or something, because that is rude and that is not okay, and I'm not going to tolerate that. And if I see someone name dropping on any of these, their comment will be deleted, and they will probably be blocked. So that's just my little side note. This video has gone way too long, and I'm going to just leave you with that little rant story, and yeah. So thanks for listening and watching, and I hope that was like entertaining and you have a story to tell your friends. I don't know. Bye!